Hello, welcome to the Nerd Country, home for everything nerd. I'm Ludo.
My name is Timmy.
I'm Ryan.
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
I'm just chilling, just cooling off. I've got a week off work now. From now, I've got a week off work in it.
What, annual leave? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why do you take annual leave right now, though?
Why
do you take annual leave now?
When was the last time you even had a break?
Yeah. Do you know what No, do you know what it was? Because basically I haven't had time off for like nearly a year, innit? Because I sold all my holidays days back to him for the remainder of the year because I didn't use them because obviously I had nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I've not had time off in a while. So I'm just looking forward to chilling, to be honest. Yeah, recharging and that.
You definitely need it because it feels like you said you've been working the entire duration of the pandemic. Literally.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm running on like 3 hours of sleep.
Why are you running on 3 hours of
It's
sleep?
it's 4 o'clock, by the way, 4 p.m. guys. So I'm running 3 hours of sleep because last night I decided to go on TikTok. Yeah. So I was on TikTok till from 1 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I double checked my clock and I saw 8 o'clock.
You went in that
I got lost in the TikTok source, bro. I don't know what happened. I was just scrolling like this and laughing away, yeah. And I was just like,
it's really that addictive.
I didn't realize I would enjoy TikTok this much. I really thought it was it's like one of them, the Gen Z app. It's not really that great. Vine was better type thing, but like, it's freaking entertaining. I won't even lie, but I can't lie. I might need to take a break from it because it's kind of addictive. I won't
It's so addictive. You get lost in it so easily,
bro.
The thing is, as well, with TikTok now, is there's so many different. There's TikToks for everything.
Yeah,
for literally for anything. It's nuts.
China's got you by the stuff.
I thought the Instagram or YouTube rabbit hole was bad. The TikTok one is just bad because do you know what it is, yeah? It's just random videos.
Yeah,
come up on your feed, isn't it? So there's nothing like it's all like same stuff. It's just random stuff, and then you find that one thing that really grabs your attention, and you're just off on that trending topic for a bit. And it's man, like, yeah, I need a break. I need a break from TikTok. No more TikTok.
I've been out literally every single week myself. I don't think I've stayed at home once. This
what I've seen on your socials,
bro, man's been out.
Drinks. That's what I've seen, man.
We outside. I'm telling you, man. We outside because we don't know if these people are trying to get us, lock us back in. So I'm trying to enjoy life as much as possible.
Do you know what? I hear it. Wait, are you vaccinated?
No, not yet. Still waiting.
You're still waiting. Okay. Because fully vaxxed. Because my thing is this, right? Like, I feel like I don't to go on a tangent a bit, but I feel like it gets to a point where if the majority of people are vaccinated,
let us free.
The COVID thing just needs to be treated like we treat any other kind of illness or virus.
Yeah, like
it's like, okay, if you get sick, all right, you got to go to hospital. I think once it drops from the pandemic level, is what isn't it? Like, you get COVID, oh no, go hospital, get treated.
Yeah. And it's never going to fully go away anyway.
It can't. Yeah. It's not going to. There's no point living in this perpetual state of panic. Like, get vaccinated. I feel like once you get vaccinated, you just calm. Like, all right, if I get it, I get it. But
the thing is, vaccinating helps you from it being more serious and having to be hospitalized. You might get ill, but you won't be hospitalized or getting killed. by dying from it. That's what it helps. So yeah, man. But the thing is, everyone all out that's vulnerable around me, they're vaccinated. I'm gonna get vaccinated when I find some time. So yeah. That's what I'm trying to do.
I mean, not to push the vaccination agenda, but like, if you can get vaccinated, I just think you might as well do it. Like,
yeah, obviously, I'm not thinking. Literally, just I tried. The thing is, because obviously my letter finally came through. I tried to get vaccinated because my parents got vaccinated like literally 2 minutes down the road from me. I looked on the thing. It said Leighton's my closest. Like, that's not my closest. That's in another borough. And I tried to click on Leighton, and it's like, oh, it was all the places are gone. So I'm like, bro, what the hell? It's everyone's trying to get vaccinated, so they just need to find a spot in it. How about you, Ryan? You vaccinated?
I'm not yet, but I'm in like the same. Or do you know what? When my mum and dad, because they've both had like 2 jabs, they had to go quite far. But recently, at the end of my road, they built a hospital and they got a COVID vaccination center there. So yeah,
I'll just walk in, innit? Just walk
in. I can just walk it and just go get it. So I'm planning to get it at some point as well.
Team, what'd you get? Pfizer, Moderna?
I got Pfizer. Man's a Pfizer puppy out here, bro. I'm not getting that Moderna or what's the Astra? Nah, man. Like the Pfizer one seems to be the one. Like, all the vaccines work. Don't get me wrong, but Pfizer seems to be the one with the guys talking about like vaccines and shit. But it just seems to be the one that works with the minimal symptoms in it, or like the.
You have symptoms?
I had like mild fatigue with the first jab, and then like.
Dead arm?
mad dead on with the second, and then fatigue as well. But that was basically it.
So not too bad.
Could be worse. Could be worse. All right, let's get into some news.
Let's get into it.
So last week, was it last week? Yeah, last week. So last week was E3, 2021. Kinda underwhelming.
It's all online, isn't it? That stuff is crap.
Yeah, and I just, but my main thing was I didn't understand why E3 tried to push this whole like registration thing as if it was like a physical event. Physical event that you're going
to go to something online. Nigga, I'll just hack that.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, oh, you got to apply for the media one, and for the industry one, for the creator one, for this one. That one's like, just send us the YouTube link, bro. Why are you doing all this before?
Watching it, you know what I'm saying?
Send us the damn YouTube link, because
that's like imagine Comic-Con trying to be bougie, trying to do an online thing, and you
like, what are you trying to pull off? Because like even on the day of when E3 started, the website was slow, the app crashed. So it's like all of that for nothing. Everyone just went to YouTube and watched all like the conferences on YouTube or Twitch. I'm saying that there was no PlayStation this year, which most people knew. I'm still expecting a PlayStation announcement sometime in the next couple of weeks, but Xbox outperformed everyone. Personally, I think just because of their commitment to Xbox Game Pass and releasing games as day one launches on Xbox Game Pass, which again, every time I think of Xbox Game Pass, I'm just thinking about how it is the best thing to happen to gaming ever.
I've said that since
Can you expand on that,
please? Released the new consoles, the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. I said Game Pass for me would be the game changer. I think that would win them the console war this generation, because when you just look even like financially, if you got Game Pass and games launching first day on Game Pass, you have that game for free for just a subscription-based service. And PlayStation 5 games, you're looking at what, like between £60 to £70 per game.
Per game, innit?
Like it's not every game title that's going to be available on Game Pass at the same time as launched. But at the same time, the library of Game Pass like 40 quid a year, and the library is like 300 plus games, I think.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a Netflix of games type thing.
Yeah. So it's a case of like if new games are coming out and those new games are going to be available on Game Pass as well.
Yeah.
It's like, why would I then go pay 60, 70 quid for the disc version when I can just go play it on Game Pass for £40 a year subscription?
With Game Pass though, because you know PlayStation has that problem with, obviously you download a game, the file's too big. How does Game Pass? How do they deal with it?
Game Pass is still the same thing. You still got to download the game, but it's the access to that game that you're paying for £40 a year. So obviously you still got, if you need a bigger memory drive, whatever, you need to get that.
But it's worth it with Game Pass.
It's worth it.
You get an external hard drive. Just buy one, and then you can literally just store as many games as you want, pretty much. It's a no-brainer for me. And
the library's always getting updated, so it's not a case of like, you know, it's the same library for goodness and ever. Some games get removed, some games get added, but for me, it's the newer titles that are going to come out that are going to be available on Game Pass. Where I'm just like, well, is there even a console war at this point? Like, there's clearly a one-sided winner in this thing, because as much as I love PlayStation, nothing PlayStation's done so far can compare or compete to Game Pass. Like it just cannot. They tried with PlayStation Now. They didn't really push it enough. The library of games on PlayStation Now isn't the best, I think. It's good, but it could be better.
Yeah, the library was never the best anyway.
Yeah, and the thing is with PlayStation Now is that you had to pay $5.99, then you had to play those games. You tend to have to stream those games over the internet, which isn't a great model to use anyway. So yeah, I don't know if they really can call it a console war at this point anymore. It's just a case of like, well, Xbox is doing one thing, PlayStation doing another. Take your pick. Yeah. Whatever works for you financially, do it. I'll go from there.
Yeah. Moving on, Jeff Bezos to fly into space on his own shuttle. I think this is the start of his original villain story.
He literally sounds like a Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. He's bold as well.
You know. Do you know what's gonna happen? So this is how I see it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's gonna go up in the shuttle, right? He's gonna reach like the atmosphere, right? And then it's gonna just like malfunction. And he's gonna crash, right? Then in the crash, he obviously survives because obviously like not asking for man to die. He's gonna survive in it. So from the crash, like all the parts of the shuttle and stuff get like fused to his body. And then he ends up recuperating, and he wakes up from like a coma and looks at his new body.
That's his origin story.
That's the origin story.
But that's his origin story. That's how he becomes a villain, isn't it? Because he's just like, damn,
I'm a human. I've ascended.
Like he just got like metal parts just coming out of his face, and his
like, you know, Fantastic Four looking like Doom. You know
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, looking like that.
That's what's gonna happen, bro.
And
who asked him to go to space, bro?
Yeah, why is he going to space?
He's going to space because I see a lot of people talk about in the future because, you know, the world, obviously, the environment and that. I'm not trying to, this is another, we're going off tangent, but you know, we do that. We love going off tangent under the council, but with obviously, if the way pollution is going, it's going to be like, you know, reversible. So it's not the rich, they're basically going to go live on Mars when Earth becomes uninhabitable. So they're literally just testing out the technology now and how to be able to live in space or Mars, for example. So I think just the rich, like Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos.
Elon Musk.
Do you know? I'm still surprised we haven't had a manned mission to Mars yet. I know it takes about 3 months to reach.
No, is it?
It's something like that. It's about 3 months to reach Mars because, like, in space, like everything's just like stupidly far from each other. Like as much as it looks like it's close, everything's just freaking far from each other. So I'm still surprised we haven't gone to the point where we're planning a manned mission to Mars because, like, I think it must be doable with all the money we're spending on space and stuff.
You're still doing with all the Land Rovers and do that stuff. You know, see what's going on there before they do that.
Random space fact though, I read recently that no one alive at the moment will ever see Pluto complete a full orbit.
It takes like hundreds of years, doesn't it?
Yeah, it takes a stupid amount of time. Stupid amount of time. Like, hold on.
As you know, Pluto's not a planet; it's a satellite. So.
Which I still find really interesting because, like, what was the conversation behind that? Like, you know, someone woke up one day and was like, I don't think we should make Pluto a planet anymore.
Yeah, it's looking kind of small, Pluto.
Looking kind of tiny. So, like, let's get the science community together and decide as to whether or not we should allow this planet to no longer be a planet. Yeah. Like it's a dumb thing. So Pluto's orbit is 248 years.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's 2-3 lifetimes. Okay, moving on. Tenet Quetta is rumored to have been cast as Namor in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Who is that?
Yeah, I didn't know who he is either. A lot of people were angry that he wasn't because he was Latino, but they wanted the Asian guy to be Namor.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, he's a Mexican actor.
I saw that people weren't necessarily happy.
Do you know, it's one of those things where it's like when you look at Namor, he reads, or he's like, he very much is, I don't know, coded to look Asian. Like he does give that kind of like Asian or maybe Polynesian kind of vibe. 100%. So I understand people were like, well, you know, why have you cast that? So. But it's like does Namor have direct ties to that region?
The thing is, whenever I've read a comic or if I've ever watched something and it's had like Namor in it, like you said, appearance-wise, that's always sort of how I've interpreted it.
Yeah,
but
he's from the sea, so he doesn't necessarily have one specific, like, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Location that he's directly from. He's from the sea.
That's my thought. But like he's from Atlantis, but they clearly drew him a particular type of way.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So.
I'm also I'm just sad because this just brings up memories of Chadwick Boseman. He's not here anymore, and that would have been a great to see them go off because Namor.
Of course.
Namor Black Panther. They go together. They go together in their you know, in their lore and stories and whatnot. And we're not gonna get that. And also we know with Marvel's work, say name was the villain. How are they gonna use him? Is he gonna be like a throwaway character? You know.
I feel like Namor is one of those characters that has to be like. Once
he's a legacy.
He has to be established and has to be kept within the MCU because the case of like Namor is tied to other characters that are coming up, like,
and he's tied to a whole kingdom.
Right, exactly. And I feel like with whatever event that Marvel is leading up to, like Namor and Atlantis are going to be a part of that. So there's no way to kind of like just say like, oh, Namor's gonna play in Black Panther 2, and then what? They're gonna kill him off.
And also, are they gonna like wreck on Namor's origin because he's a mutant as well? Plus, he's Atlantean.
I think they would. Because I don't think they've got enough time to bring mutants into the story and explain it.
People forget there's a mutant. The submarine.
I think his mutant power was the flight. It's like the wings he had on his ankle.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Are they going to bring that? Or are they just going to ignore that?
They're going to retcon it. They're going to retcon it for the MCU, I think, because at this stage, I don't even think we deserve the mutants. That's just my.
It's too messy, isn't it?
It's my God honest opinion. I just don't think we as
it's too messy. It's too messy.
We as consumers, we as fans, do not deserve the mutants in the MCU. It's great that Marvel have the rights.
I think just logistically, it's too much of a mess.
There's no way to make it make sense.
It's the same question we're asking, because now with Eternals coming, people saying with all things that's going on, Eternals, what was you and what was you watching? It's the same question we're asking now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it feels like we have to have the same debate over and over.
Exactly.
On how is it going to work? How are we going to fit them in? Yeah.
Where have they been? Why did they not appear in such and such and such and such? Like, there's no way you can just pop them in there and not explain. What's been going on for the past, not even like 11 years within the MCU universe. God knows how many years. Like, it just doesn't really make sense. We don't deserve them. Just forget it. Do you know what I'd rather they do? I'd rather they take mutant characters and retcon them into kind of like new ones.
Okay.
That's do you feel like because obviously they tried to do Inhumans before and obviously it didn't go well at all. Do you feel like if Inhumans was successful, they'd be pushing like the mutants? Because I think if the Inhumans worked, I don't think they'd be doing this. I don't think they'd be.
They messed up. They made Inhumans a TV show.
Yeah. I agree.
Correction. They made it a budget TV show.
Okay, yeah.
That's half the problem.
Wasn't it originally meant to be a movie, and then they?
Originally it was meant to be a movie. Then they obviously, I don't know what they went off. They went off the board. And it became SFX or whatever. And they said, yes, make it a TV show. And obviously the TV show didn't do well. And we're here.
Should have given it to HBO. If it was HBO, fam.
Yeah.
Yo.
Okay. No PS5 trends as fans express frustration and inability to buy PlayStation 5 still having an issue trying to get a PS5.
I've given up. I've literally given up.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I don't even know what to say at this point when it comes to access to getting the PS5. I think
I literally had the money saved up for so long.
Yeah, I'm using it now.
Tried on so many. Do you know what I said? No.
I just don't understand where they're all going. Like, I think I thought it'd get to a point where the scalpers was like, well, we've got enough.
We've got enough in it. We've got
to make a profit or whatever they want to do. But it's like, just let people buy the console, man. Like, it's just ridiculous at this stage. Like, even if people have to buy it directly from, I've said this before, if people have to buy it directly from Sony, and Sony are the only retailer distributing it for the next, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, just do it so people can buy the damn console. Like, people can't just be getting an Amazon alert for it, and then in 2 seconds it's sold out. Like, what?
It was crazy.
Nah, man, burn it. What's next? Oh, so Captain America really did mess up everything. Explain that.
When you went to go put all the stones back, you messed everything up.
I got that.
Okay. So
have you guys started watching Loki yet?
I've been watching Loki, right? So
Ryan, you watching it?
Yeah, I've watched it. I'm caught up. I've seen the 2 episodes.
But the TVA directly said that they didn't mess things up because they did what they were supposed to do, as dictated by the timekeepers.
Mm-hmm.
It was Loki dipping out of the timeline at that point, which messed things up.
But that's Captain America, because Captain America, he fumbled the bag at first. Because remember, you were meant to fight. You were meant to fight him himself, and that's how they got confused, and that's how Loki, in Endgame.
But him fighting himself to get the Tesseract must have still been part of everything. It was the fumble of the Tesseract being taken by Loki.
Yeah.
When things effed up and they were like, oh well, we need to now go back even further to get the Tesseract from Hank Pym. Or whatever it was. Was it Hank Pym? I can't remember. I need to rewatch Endgame. But my thing is, in that moment, there is still that mess that Loki created when he dipped. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Loki, the TV show, fixes that. And I've seen a theory that apparently the TVA exists within the quantum realm.
I've seen that as well. And did you see the photo that was with it as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look like it.
It looks like the TVA exists within the quantum realm.
That was a question I had about the TVA as well, because obviously especially the first episode when Loki goes there and he can't use his powers and he's essentially quite weak compared to them. Like the way they control time and that. I wanted to know how does their control over time, sort of how far does it expand? Do they exist outside of time, when they're at the TVA?
And what do you think about apparently Kang the Conqueror being one of the timekeepers?
That'd be interesting.
Ryan's not convinced.
Yeah, I don't know about that one because I want Kang to be Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah, let him do his own thing. Let him. He's there to like try and mess up and be a conqueror. You're not trying to like keep time in peace. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in that video, they were saying like obviously Kang the Conqueror is going to be the villain in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Quantumania is definitely going to take place within the quantum realm. The TVA is in the quantum realm. Like so, when it comes.
There are a few links there. It does make sense.
Alright, cool. Cyberpunk 2077. Internal bug highly real leaks online.
People are still playing this game. Like I can't. I
will not play that game unless they release a next gen version.
I gave up with it. I played it for like a week and
too buggy.
Nah, like after all that hype, I get the devs were doing things behind the scenes to meet deadlines and things like that, but like that game is not worth my time at the moment. I really don't care. That's the God honest truth about Cyberpunk 2077. I was hyped for it, and I don't care no more. Like,
I guess like that. Kevin Feige says Loki will have a bigger impact on MCU than previous Disney Plus shows.
I think that's not that much of a surprise.
Yeah, I feel like once you have any of the shows involve
time
travel, multiverse, it's gonna have an impact.
Yeah.
Like those are the big things for like Marvel that affect, well, in comic books in general, that just affects things anyway. So it's gonna be interesting to see how. Oh, so we caught up on Loki, right? So my thing is, I haven't
started yet.
What?
Yeah, I ain't started yet, man.
So you're asking me and Timmy if you've seen it.
What I was asking. I thought you guys were gonna say no on it.
That's why I'm so confused now. Wait, so what do you know of this? Wait, so do you know about who the villain is?
I know a lot in it. I know a lot.
Do you know who the villain is? I want to make a point.
No.
Okay.
You can say.
Okay, fine.
You can say.
Fine. So my thing is, I want to know how female Loki fits into this whole thing, and if we get a female Loki, are we also going to get a young Loki? Is young Loki going to lead into like the Young Avengers? So like, I feel like Loki is setting the precedent for a lot of things to come with the MCU, especially because we haven't even had an MCU movie yet. Well, no, I mean like in terms of like Phase 4.
Oh, the next.
Yeah, Phase 4. Yeah. So,
wait, what's the next? When's the first Phase 1 movie? Eternals.
Is it Black Widow? It's Black Widow Phase 4, Phase 3.
No, Phase 4. That's Black Widow. How can I mean this?
Okay, so I think the first,
but like as a part of Phase 4, her character's like she's dead. So
yeah, so I think the first Phase 4 movie is
Eternals.
Is the Eternals, yeah.
And that's November, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and even before that, no, Shang-Chi.
When's that?
Shang-Chi's in Octoberish, and then you got Miss Marvel as well, the TV show as well. We'll have to double check that. But basically, I feel like Loki's gonna set a lot of stuff up because of the time travel aspect. That's the point I was making.
To be fair, I think most of the Marvel TV shows have done that. I mean, if you look at WandaVision, I think it sets up to go into like Doctor Strange, and obviously Wanda's very different to how she was at the start of that season. With the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they've obviously the Captain America mantle's been passed on to Sam, and that sets him up for hopefully a new trilogy of Captain America movies.
Yeah.
And then this one obviously has lots more implications on the universe with like time travel and that. And like he said, I think we'll get Kid Loki, hopefully, for the Young Avengers.
Fingers crossed.
We're setting up. Also, Spawn's Universe #1 issue is already Image Comics' best-selling first issue of the 21st century. So people going crazy for Spawn.
When did Spawn come out?
It's always been crazy popular though, man.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
It's always been so popular.
Spawn had like movie like in the 90s, isn't it? Yeah, the movie like in the 90s.
I've never taken that much interest in it myself. I don't know if you guys read it.
You've always known the character, don't it?
Yeah, I've always known the character.
Did Spawn come out before Blade?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Because we talk a lot about Blade, but we barely talk about Spawn when it comes to like first black comic book characters on like film and stuff like that. So, but when Spawn came out, because I know Static came out this week.
Static's been doing really well as well. Static's been doing really well.
I would hope so. Like people need to be reading the Milestone comics again, man. Like they've gone through so much work and effort to revive the franchise as it were. But like we need people to read in the comics. Like I'm still waiting for our first issue. I pre-ordered mine.
Forbidden Planet.
Pre-ordered mine. Still hasn't come. So it hasn't come. So I might have to roll up to the shop on Monday. Like, where the hell's my comic?
Did Free Comic Book Day, has it passed?
No, Free Comic Book Day hasn't come yet.
We didn't have one last year, did we? We didn't have one because of the pandemic. Innit?
Yeah, we didn't have one because of the pandemic. I think it's supposed to be in.
What is it?
Hold on, where's Free Comic? Hold on, Free Comic Book Day. Yeah, 2021 is 14th of August.
It's August. No, it can't be August.
It's usually in June or May, June.
Yeah, May.
I think it's been moved because of the pandemic.
Yeah, because I remember once when I was still in uni and I was still in my uni C, so that I was never there in August. So it must be May.
It's usually around the summer. I know that much anyway. But yeah, like if you're not reading Milestone comics, if you haven't seen it, or
you got to go into that. You got to go into that.
Get into Milestone comics.
I'll read it tonight because I haven't read comics in a minute. I need to get back into it. So
same.
That's perfect.
The last comic I was reading was obviously when I literally finished all Invincible, like 500 issues or whatever. I finished that in like 4 days, bro.
I still need to read Invincible.
I still decided I'm not going to read that. I'm just going to wait for the season.
No, wait.
I'm going to read it. I still need to read Invincible. I still want to read Immortal Hulk. I think there's a couple others actually on my list.
I had a few on my list I was reading, but I forgot. But I'm going to get back to them.
All right, what's next? Aquaman 2, James Wan promises DC film will be released in theaters. Okay.
I can't remember. I think it might be titled The Lost Kingdom. That's what they might be calling the Aquaman 2 film.
Okay.
And that's interesting because it's a storyline that's not been done before in terms of like animation, I don't think, or live action. It's only been done in the comics very recently.
What is the storyline?
So the lost city of Atlantis, there was an old king, and it's how Atlantis sinks. I'm pretty sure it was done in the New 52. So there's a lot of storyline behind it that they can delve into. It gives you a lot of sort of like back lore on Atlantis and sort of before, because Atlantis sunk.
Yeah, like
first, and it just explains that in depth, how it happened with the old things and the old wars. And there was another sea that we've not explored before. So that could be interesting.
Do you think they're going to sneak in the trench again into this film?
100%.
They'll have to. They
was even planning to do a trench solo. I know it got scrapped in the end.
Yeah.
And the trench scene they had in Aquaman as well. I think everyone was a fan of that.
Yeah, everyone loved that cinematography.
That was a really, really good scene. Really good scene.
Exactly. I think they'll definitely. The trench is cash money if they put another scene.
People loved that scene. Cool. Former President Bill Clinton thinks aliens could be real. So it's all coming out now, man.
Do you know what?
No, it's all coming out.
I've said this for the longest time. Aliens
are real.
Aliens exist.
Yeah.
There is,
and they're so much more technically advanced than us.
I don't know about the last part.
There's probably species that are, and there probably are some that are less advanced.
But I think, but UFOs and that, if you can reach another planet, like, and be gone in the blink of an eye, you must be more technically advanced than us.
But I don't think any extraterrestrial life. I don't think any extraterrestrial life has come to Earth. Only because.
You don't think so?
Only because the universe is wham. Like I'm trying to it's
constantly expanding. Yeah,
it's stupidly big, and the nearest galaxy to us, right?
Yeah.
The nearest galaxy to us, even if you travel at light speed, will still take you about 200 years to reach, right? And that's edge to edge. We're not even talking like edge to edge. So I don't think any extraterrestrial life has necessarily come to Earth, but I definitely think like alien life exists in that universe because it's just too big for what 7 billion humans and a couple of animals to be living on one small blue planet. And that's all the life that exists in the universe? Nah, man, no way. I think we as humans are too egotistical to think like we're the only things that exist.
What's your theory that obviously aliens came back in like hundreds of thousands of years ago and they were worship as gods and then left? What do you think about that theory?
It makes for a good comic book story.
It does.
that's
kind of like
that's a good Hollywood movie.
Right.
It's kind of like what's it called? Is it Alien? What's is it Alien Revenant? No, Revenant.
Prometheus.
Yeah, Prometheus.
Yeah.
And obviously literally they like humans, like they kind of create humans, whatever thing came by. They're like, yeah.
It's an interesting theory, but I feel like for the most part, it's more used to rationalize the things achieved by I'll say pre-colonial societies. Like they use it to explain
like the pyramids as well, yeah.
The pyramids, the Mayans, things like that. It's just like why does it have to be aliens? Why can't it just be like
those people are smart as well, yeah.
Exactly. So it could be, it could be. There could have been 1-2 alien that came to Earth, and were revered as gods. And it's a theory I would like to explore, but I don't necessarily think that they were better than that they came down. Like, because I think there'd be more evidence to it, per se. But yeah, alien life exists, 100%. We're not the only things that live in this universe. I doubt. I will say this much. I think we're probably the only living things in this in this galaxy. Solar system. In this galaxy, probably the only living things that exist. So we probably have to travel to another galaxy to find another living organism, but we'll see. I think we'll do an alien invasion. I think give it a couple years. Like
invasion, bro. I don't want to be alive for that.
We'll do an alien invasion. We'll do an apocalypse. Like we've had a pandemic. We've had a pandemic in our lifetime. So we need an alien invasion, zombie apocalypse. What's the next one?
Nuclear warfare.
Right, nuclear warfare. Like we'll do these things in our lifetime.
Enhance humans.
I think mutants will come after the alien warfare.
Just enhance humans. Enhance.
Yeah. Where do I sign up?
Like what's it called? What's it called? What's the in the boys? What's the injection?
Compound V.
Compound V.
We're vaccines, bro. Compound V.
Go. See? We're getting there.
Alright, cool. Aaron Taylor Johnson has been cast as Kraven Hunter in Sony's Kraven movie. The guy from Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
Oh!
He's also Quicksilver.
He was Quicksilver as well. He's been doing his thing, man.
Yeah, he has been. I think it's a good casting.
Yeah, I like it.
That's a good casting. That's a really good casting. He's a really good actor. I think, but if he gets wham enough, I think he'll do the role.
But he's sure they can get wham enough.
True. No, true. Yeah.
If you look at him from Kick-Ass and you look at him in Age of Ultron, and
sure.
actors are always putting on mass and losing weight and that all the time, man. He knows what he did.
You remember the guy when everyone was complaining about what's his name? The guy who plays Shazam when he was obviously, but he got big.
Oh, he got stupidly big.
To the point everyone said that it was fake and his suit was padded, so he had to upload a photo to prove it.
And he was, so these guys, they got the best personal trainer, the nutritionist. So yeah, he'll get. Obviously, he's really showing it, but he'll get big, man. He'll get big.
It's like the quickest way to get wham is either go jail or become a Hollywood actor.
Literally, either go jail or become a Hollywood actor.
That's it. Like you'll get wham so quick. It's ridiculous. Now I'm excited to see him in the role. I think he'll do a pretty good job.
In a way, I kind of do like the side movies Sony are doing, obviously with Morbius, Craven. They're doing, was it Black Cat as well?
I think they have cancelled.
I think they got cancelled. Yeah, but it would be good for them to make it back.
They're building something. They're building something.
Yeah, I feel like I don't feel like it needs to be directly tied to like the MCU Marvel side of things. It can like touch on it.
Yeah,
know they exist in the same.
Like how how Marvel used to skate, or not Marvel, the Marvel show used to skate like the flag wave. Yeah, like that.
Give us that. That's calm.
The big green guy. Yeah.
Don't bring me back to the big green guy. I'm so bad. But yeah, like a Craven. I think the Craven film will be good. I just feel like I need them to get the villain films right. I think Venom was a good first attempt, but I need them to lean in more into like the villain side of things.
Venom became like an anti-hero film, kind of, isn't it?
Yeah, but Venom is not an anti-hero. That's my point, bro.
He was at some point in the comics, but I get it. He wasn't at first. Like he was an origin story of Venom for his first movie. I get it. That's not what you want to see.
Nah, it's not.
It's a bit corny, but
I hear that. Yeah, but obviously with Carnage coming, he's definitely, because obviously Venom. He's not Carnage is going to be the bad guy.
Yeah. Of course, like him and Carnage have beef. I get that, but
if Carnage comes along and he's like a proper villain, like Ludo said, and then like Venom's still this like anti-hero type, then I'd accept it more. But if Carnage isn't done correctly, then I'll be like, it's a bit rubbish.
Like even with Morbius, like Morbius is not necessarily a villain, but it's not necessarily a hero either. He's a bit more of an anti-hero, but like I just want to see more of the anti stuff than the hero stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? So
you're a proper villain movie then.
Yeah, man, just do it.
A proper villain movie we've got is the joke, isn't it? That's an origin. Actually, I want a villain movie which the villain just does bad shit. We don't need to know why, explanation. You're just doing bad shit to do bad shit. We don't need to know why he became bad. We should know.
I would like to see it. Just drop us in the deep end of it all.
Exactly, just drop in the deep end. Like, yeah, man, I'm a bad guy, bro, and I don't need an explanation for it. Like, I'm gonna blow up the school because I feel like it.
Done.
Ransom, like Batman. I have blunted 7 bombs in specific parts of Gotham. You have to find out where they are.
Done. That's it. Done. And like, bare people just die. Done.
Exactly.
There's a film. 50 million in the box office. Done.
I don't know anti-hero stuff. I don't feel sorry for them. You know, like, I don't
want to relate to them. I don't
relate to them. Boom.
This episode of the LGBTQ podcast is brought to you by ELGATO and the new Wave 1 microphone. Now, I know you're probably thinking this is some generic podcast ad, but mate, you cannot deny the sound quality. The new Wave 1 has allowed us to deliver an incredible audio experience for you guys, while still allowing us to deliver the same great content you all love and enjoy. So go check out the new Wave 1 and see how it can improve your audio content. Now, back to our episode. Let's get into our main topic. So, it is Pride Month, as they call it. So we are gonna do a bit of a introspective. No, that's not what I'm looking for. But basically, we're gonna cover Pride topics within
nerd
culture and everything else. Okay, so the first thing is the first LGBTQ superhero. The first one I can ever remember was Iceman from X-Men. I don't know if he was the first, but it's definitely the first one I can remember.
To my knowledge, I don't know as in like comic book characters as a whole, but I think Marvel, the first LGBTQ character they published, I think it might have been North Star.
Yes, it's North Star, yeah.
Yes, you're right.
I'm not 100% certain, but check it out.
It is North Star. North Star.
But like Timmy, the most popular one, who I was sort of seeing the most, was definitely Iceman. It's like he's been like for me the most popular.
I think
with that as well. With Iceman, when did he become obviously LGBTQ? Was he before the movies or after the movies as well? That's why
it was. Yeah. It was after the movies. I think it was after. It was after the movies. I think it was after the initial trilogy. I might be wrong, but I think I remember I'm trying to remember the issue itself because I remember reading it. I remember going to the library to read this issue as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I think it's something interesting about why they chose Bobby to be like the first LGBTQ character. Like, well, not the first, but the first one that got proper highlighted the way it got highlighted.
Yeah, because everyone, he was one that you call back for, like, what's his name?
Yeah, like he's like probably one of the first people will recall when you bring up like gay characters within Marvel.
You know what you think about as well, yeah? Characters like, for example, Loki, Constantine, and Deadpool, they're very sexually fluid. They're part of this. They're on the part of the community as well. But people never see them as that as well because they don't.
It's one of those things that just gets touched on.
Yeah.
In the comics, like I think more so with Loki.
Yeah.
Than Deadpool. Deadpool I think is very heavy on, to a point where it's almost like, okay, we get it. Like you could stop telling us, like we get it.
Yeah.
With Loki's obviously people talk about Loki being gender fluid, being pansexual, being bisexual. Like I know, and people some people kind of revere from that. Like there's no evidence of that, but like Loki constantly plays with gender and things like that. There's female Loki, there's old man Loki, and these other things like that. So like,
you also got to look at it as way where he's not human, so he doesn't follow human.
That's the point I was even going to make. Like a lot of these characters aren't necessarily human anyway, so you can't expect them to align to general convention of what isn't on Earth, because it just doesn't make sense. And I find that interesting because a lot of the time we can understand that a lot of these characters aren't. For example, Frieza.
Mm-hmm.
Frieza's one I always think of. Like Frieza, obviously people say Frieza has no gender. So if you can but I've
always been like you. I've always been with Frieza is he?
No, that's such a good example he's brought up because I've always questioned it, but you know I should have.
For example, with Frieza, you don't know, but you can tell he's like King Cool. That's a
it's like Frieza. Frieza
brother, but Frieza, you're like.
His voice is like different to like.
This is it. So like, I remember watching Dragon Ball Z, and I remember seeing Frieza. I'm like, oh, Frieza sounds like a woman, but he's using like male pronouns and stuff, but then he also has no gender. And my thing is like, if people can wrap their head around this, and then it's like, if related to real life, how can we then like, people then struggle to understand that maybe some people don't align with gender? But like, but you can understand that Frieza doesn't. I don't understand.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
because I think people still are in that aspect, that sense that is, because with Frieza, that's not a real being, that's not a real person. They're still stuck in that aspect that can't be real.
Yeah, it's still fiction.
Still fiction to them.
People to dismiss
because
it.
their viewpoint or world point of view is still not open up what they think. Not everyone's gonna be like you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, and so their viewpoint.
I think Frieza also kind of leads into this trope that was really prevalent a lot in like early 2000s, late 90s, where a lot of characters that we saw on anime, cartoons and stuff like were what people would call queer coded, and there tends to be a lot of villains. So if you think of like,
is that I've always asked, is that because I remember reading this a while back, is that problematic? Queer coded characters always being portrayed as the villain? I don't
think it's necessarily problematic, but I think it's
because, for example, I remember. You remember on Powerpuff Girl, him.
Exactly.
Like, I was like, is he like the first transgender? Like, I was like, what? Like,
exactly. So there's a repeated pattern of there have been a lot of queer coded villains. Him, Scar, Ursula. I would even include Squidward from SpongeBob SquarePants. Like it kind of. I don't know whether it's kind of like telling young people that there's something wrong with being like, but I don't think there's anything wrong with queer coding these villains. The same way they kind of like, if you see most villains are British in a lot of things, there's that type of thing. So I don't necessarily see it as a negative, but as long as you acknowledge it, like it's there, I think it's fine. But it was very much a repeated pattern of things around that time, which I've seen, a lot of people have seen, it's been brought up many times again. But
also, can't you see like the way, for example, say black characters are being typecasted as the thug or whatnot? Exactly. Does it bring up those negative connotations that obviously queer people are always going to be the villain and seen as the bad guy or seen as the bad person and seen they need to get beaten up or whatever?
Absolutely. And that probably is what a lot of people have thought, will continue.
But again, we don't want to take it to a level where we don't want queer characters to play bad villain, because obviously they can. Just because you're queer doesn't mean you're good or bad. You're human and you're complex. You know, a complex person. I
think the thing is with a lot of these queer coded villains, they're actually very good villains for the shows that they're in.
Yeah.
But because there are so many of them, you're kind of like, is there an underlying message behind all these villains being queer coded, as opposed to just being kind of villainous and
they are
right, yeah. LGBTQ people in leading roles. I struggled with this one because there's not many in leading roles. I think even characters in general, like in leading roles, it's hard to think of them within our space, as it were. I think like Marvel's spoken a lot about, having the first kind of
openly
gay kiss or queer interaction in Eternals and things like that, and people are just like, it's kind of late.
Was we expecting that? Was we expecting to get like an openly, like with Captain Marvel? Was we expecting to get something in that?
I think we were, between her and Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
I think people were expecting that. Or at least it was
kind of vibes I got from
it was alluded. At least it was alluded.
It was a vibey thing, like there's something going on there, but
so it's kind of like you either do it or you don't. This that kind of alluding to stuff isn't.
You think we're past the point of just alluding, and obviously like, we think they got something going on.
Yeah, because it's
like behind the type scenes.
It's boring. It's honestly boring. Like, just do it. Like we most of us are grown. We know, we get it. Just do it, as opposed to kind of just like teetering at it or touching on it. Just get it done. So we like
kind of like jump in already. Jump in. Don't touch your toe.
It's a bit similar to what was the issue around Black Panther with Ayo and another the
Dora Milaje, innit?
Yeah, like
in the comics they have a lesbian relationship. Yeah,
they're in a relationship together, and it was something that.
It was just implied in the movies, but it's like they'll give like you give a look that you like someone, but it wasn't like fully shown.
It's like
compared to the thing like they're together. This is my lover. They even like, because they love each other so much, they even like went against T'Challa the King because they.
Yeah, like it's there's no point just kind of touching on it. Just do it in such a way that we know that you acknowledge that these characters have a relationship, there's no point just touching on it or alluding to it or kind of like
or letting us do fan theories about it as well.
Exactly. Like there's no point. Let us know that you've done the research on these characters and you acknowledge that there is this romantic relationship between them. We're not asking you to have them engage in sex on screen. No one's like, it's not really all that. Just acknowledge the fact in such a way that these characters are romantically involved. Done. And then maybe later on down the line, do whatever you want to do. But it's kind of boring to just keep alluding to all this kind of stuff. But
I think so there was an actor. Do you remember The Flash?
Yeah.
On the CW, the TV show. Do you remember?
Yes. What's his name?
Keenan Lansdale.
That's him.
He was playing. He played Kid Flash, and I think there was a movie. I think it might have, or a TV show called Love, Simon.
Love, Simon. Yeah,
and he was playing an LGBT character, and then I think he came out obviously publicly on his Instagram after that as well.
Yeah.
So there's one example.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'll give you that one. Yeah, because I remember that happening. I mean, and also
go to me.
No, go on.
I said this also leads to like my next point, like also with LGBT roles in movies. Like we spoke about this before, but could you bring up again? Does the person need to be part of that community to play that role?
I still think because LGBTQ actors aren't necessarily few far between, and aren't necessarily always given the straight roles to play as well. Yes, I get that straight actors want to play these LGBTQ roles because it's seen as daring and challenging, and it's acting, and it's acting. I get it. I do. I'm not recommending that. But until we get to a point where you're given these same role, given equal opportunity roles to LGBTQ actors, where LGBTQ characters are not just playing the sassy sidekick or
the sassy best friend type stuff.
Then
you want them playing main roles and that.
Then we need them playing these roles, and it would be good to see more of them in these roles. I mean, people have said with the whole Eternals thing, they would have loved to have seen, queer actor play the role of, I can't remember his name, or their names even. But again, the problem is that there are few and far between in Hollywood in terms of queer actors, which might come as a surprise to a lot of people, because like you think that there are loads of them, but there are not many queer or LGBTQ actors in Hollywood like that at that level to be playing, all these big Hollywood blockbusters.
Or even those that are out in the open, should we say?
Or even the ones that are out, yeah, sure. Yeah. We're not the ones that are out in the open as opposed to those who haven't, found are brave enough to come forward or things like that. But in terms of that, even the ones that are out and and proud and everything else, they get typecasted a lot of the time. And then sometimes you got to do it to pay the bills. But
of course, again,
I just feel like if the opportunity is there to cast an LGBTQ character in an LGBTQ role, do it, because there is that link of shared experience that a straight actor will not necessarily get. They can read upon it, they can, ask questions and research and shit, but but lived experience is always going to outweigh any kind of research you do.
Yeah,
100%. It's the same way when, oh God, my mind's gone blank. It's the same way when you have certain black roles, right? Like lived experience is always going to trump anything that you kind of research. Or if there's for example, the film like In the Heights, right? That came out recently, right? When there's the erasure of Afro-Latino people within the film, because the Washington Heights area is known to have a lot of prominent Afro-Latino people, and they kind of erase all those Afro-Latino people for just like white passing Latino people instead. And it's just like that lived experience of the Afro-Latino people in Washington Heights is invisible because you've gone and erased them for these white passing people instead. So I just think there is a lot of work to be done in Hollywood in terms of getting people who are not only just fit for the role, but who understand the role entirely to be given the opportunity to do so. That's the point I'm making.
It's kind of like the show Posse, when a lot of them are part of the LGBT community as well.
Yeah. It's like, again, it's lived experience. You're not gonna get, like, I'm not saying straight actors can't act in these roles. I'm just saying that link between the story a lot of the time you're not gonna have as a straight actor, no matter how much you research the role. But then again, it leads into this whole kind of spiral of like, okay, well then does that then mean that you can't play a role, for example, of someone who has mental health problems if you don't have mental health problems yourself, or someone who has been abused if you haven't been abused yourself, and
it kind of strays away from the essence of what acting is, But also, we're just saying, like, give more opportunities so people are part of the community. Then we can just think about, divvy up who gets to act what,
Absolutely. How important should it be to a person's character? So, how important should someone's sexuality be to a person's character? It depends on the character.
Yeah, it depends on the
character. It differs from character to character, to be honest. Like for some characters, it might not be sort of like the main focus. Do you know what I mean? It might not be a part of the wider story.
I feel like, for example, Harley Quinn's, I would say, is important to her character, because there is this constant struggle with her between her love for Joker and her love for Ivy, and while if we kind of remove the trauma aspect of her love for Joker, there is this kind of exploration of Harley's, I guess, bisexuality, with her loving both Joker and Ivy for different reasons and in different ways. So it's a case of, like, I think, like I said, it depends on the character, how pivotal to the character is exploring a sexuality within a story. I think like who's it? So what's his name? Aqualad.
Yeah.
Was recently announced to be bisexual. They've barely touched on that, but again, I don't think it's been pivotal to his story to explore that relationship between him and someone else, regardless of what gender they are. But like, I remember a panel when didn't he come out to his dad, and his dad, and his dad was like, "I don't care."
I don't care, bro. So.
And you know what? Yeah.
I love that panel.
Though. I liked that panel. I won't lie to you.
I loved it because obviously you probably thought Mantis would be like, be like, bro, I don't care. That means nothing to me.
Man was like we got shit to do. Like, exactly. I don't really care.
I don't care. Like,
why are you telling me right now? How is this going to change the situation we're in?
It also shows that how normal we should see it as. I think kind of like.
I don't think it's that, bro. I think it's also like, it's interesting to see how these characters within these universes react to these other characters coming out in whether it's like Black Mantis, the villain, his son telling him that he's bisexual, and he's like, I don't care, bro. Just like, shut up, for God's sake. I'm not necessarily saying that every character has to now become like non-straight, but it would be interesting to see more of these interactions between how these characters, like, I would like.
You want me to start treating you differently?
Exactly. Or like, or even to be honest with you, it would be interesting to see if there were characters who would treat other LGBT characters differently.
As another layer to the storytelling as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, would that, like, pure hypothetical. For example, like, when Bobby Iceman came out, if certain members of the X-Men treated him differently, and I say differently, I mean like from as little as microaggressions here and there to full-on homophobia, that would have been, I think it would have been very, I want to say problematic, but it would have been interesting to see what those kind of interactions would be, because it's like, okay, our Marvel then turning favorite characters homophobic, like, because it's just like these characters.
Also, I think it will add another layer to something.
Right, I think so too.
And he's gay, so and understand the struggle of being a marginalized or minority.
Right. Because I feel like
add another layer.
It's another nudge. Like, so, like, no, I don't really want every character to have necessarily good experiences from when they come out. Do you know what I mean? Because that's not realistic.
Yeah,
that's not realistic. I would expect some. I'm not expecting homophobia.
Of course,
only from villains. I would expect kind of some from a couple of our heroes too. Like, as much as our heroes
are flawed as well.
As much as our heroes are, fighting for justice and shit and fighting the good fight, I think some of them are kind of flawed, and some of them might be a bit homophobic, might be a bit ignorant, and it would be interesting to see that.
I hear what you're saying, because obviously that would be like a truer or more accurate reflection of society. But at the same time, I don't really necessarily see that happening, because
no, it won't.
You know, just hypothetically, you could pull any superhero. Let's just say, for example, that superhero was Batman, and they've done it to Batman. Then you just know Batman's popularity in the comics is going to tank.
It's gonna.
And
Yeah,
it would be the same for any character.
He said obviously he doesn't eat out or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Which still baffles me. But now you're right. Like there is obviously a realism that would be added, but it then portrays these characters as then
such a negative
problematic. Yeah, exactly. And no one wants to see that.
If that's like your favorite superhero,
exactly.
Like, why don't you do that to my hero? Bro?
Exactly. Like, that would kill me. I don't think I'd read another issue. If Batman ended up being homophobic, I'd be a bit like, yeah, I'm not reading another Batman comic. And so I get why they haven't done that, but there's layers to this kind of thing where it would be interesting to explore what that would look like. But yeah, I feel like just certain characters. Well, because I mean, like even with certain straight characters, the way their sexuality is explored a lot of the time is pivotal to the story. For example, even like Spider-Man's relationships with Mary Jane and Gwen, those are explorations of sexuality. It doesn't necessarily have to be just tied to LGBTQ characters. Scott and Jean Grey and what's going on? Emma Frost. Like again, that's an exploration of sexuality.
But that relationship's so boring.
Oh, it's hella boring. Hella boring.
It's the most boring relationship.
So dull, bro. But yeah, like it just depends on the story being told. Like I don't necessarily want a story where a character's having to tell everyone every 5 minutes, oh yeah, by the way, I'm gay, by the way, I'm gay, by the way, I'm gay. Because like, okay, but what's that really adding to what's going on in the scene right now? Do you know what I mean? But yeah,
I think a very good example was when you mentioned Harley and Ivy, because I prefer Harley when she's with Ivy, the dynamic of the characters, as opposed to when she's with Joker.
She's more like a lapdog when she's with the Joker. With Ivy, it's more of a partnership, and it's more of a healthy relationship when it was with Ivy as well.
Yeah, 100%. And when I've read comics, if I've read Harley and Ivy together, I've enjoyed that a lot more than the Joker dynamic. And that's because what Timmy was saying about sometimes it's pivotal to the character, sometimes it isn't. With Ivy, I feel like it is. And that's what makes it a lot better, because the layers that they explore in whatever comic it is they team up together, it's a lot better.
I mean, even if we take it to things like gaming and we look at Ellie in The Last of Us, and the way they explored her sexuality and how her sexuality was tied to the story, it was necessary to show her relationships and how her, as you know, her being gay or being queer was part of that story. There's no point kind of like it's nice to reveal these kind of things about characters, but if they're not adding anything to the story, it kind of just ends up being a waste element. And some
it's a wasted element, because I've not played the latest one, so I'm not too sure what happened.
What in terms of what?
Like, was it a wasted element, her being?
No. It added depth. It added a lot of depth to the game.
I was thinking maybe like obviously we're in like a zombie apocalypse. Is it now?
Yes, but see that's the interesting thing.
In partaking in relationships, like we ain't got time for that.
that's the interesting thing about the Last of Us game. It's like underneath this whole kind of apocalypse storyline is this story about the human experience and exploring what it means to exist within this time and how you interact with others and what it means to be in a relationship and what it means to have family. And there are so many themes in that game that I could go on for hours, but like talking specifically about Eddie's sexuality was part of the story, and it was a good way to the way it was done was brilliant. And I feel a lot of like sometimes certain characters sometimes certain characters you just need to be like, okay, well, that character is gay. Cool, fine. Now tell me a story about what they're doing as a gay character. And you get that kind of people like, okay, well, I like this character, not just because they're gay, but because they're also super powerful or super interesting, or, you know, they had this really good fight, whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. So it just depends on the character, I think, when it comes to whether or not their sexuality is explored, as it were. So, yeah. What more can we do to create a safe space? Are we talking specifically within the community, or are we talking specifically within like the white skin things? What we're talking about? So when you say safe space,
let's go community and just where we go from there.
How much time you got? I think a lot when it comes to things like safe spaces within like nerd culture and the nerd community and people being more understanding and I won't even say accepting, just respectful of others. There's a lot of work to be done. I think the work is being done by people and by groups, but by highlighting, showcasing, and celebrating people of different backgrounds, different people of different sexualities and different gender identities, and that's all great and all. But underneath all of that is still like this layer of the cis white man who control, like who just dominates the space with a lot of negativity, the incels, the basement dwellers, whatever you want to call them. Like they're always going to be there, and they're a force in this space. And whether you're
on my little level that I have, I would say obviously one thing I do is just try to create space for anyone, try to be like comfortable around people, like obviously one thing I'll do goes to I try to learn as much. Obviously, I don't understand everything. I try to learn, ask questions, try learn as much, and if I see anything wrong, I try to cut it out. I try navigating away. If I see, for example, say we're potentially working something, I find out he's homophobic, I cut him out. Stuff like that. So doing stuff like that, creating this safe space where we don't have to take to that level. Just little things that we can do individually, just learning more, asking questions, and just trying to be more understanding. Because I don't understand everything yet. I'm still learning more as well.
Yeah, I mean, even LGBTQ people will tell you that they don't understand everything. Like some people barely understand themselves. Like there's nothing wrong with asking these questions because the questions are there to be asked. And a lot of the time, people would rather not ask questions and rather just be ignorant and express their ignorance as fact, which is dangerous, and in some cases can be very harmful, and in a lot of cases can even lead to people losing their lives. But like I said, within this space and within the space that that we've built as a nerd council and the community that we've built, I think it's just important for us to just be like, as long as you have a love for the things that we love, comics, gaming, movies, TV, anime, cartoons, sci-fi, wherever it is, like come as you are. That's the thing that I like about what we built.
Exactly, you don't have to hide who you are.
There's no need to hide who you are. Like we're not judging you for who you are. I'm not necessarily judging you for your interests either, but it's a case like
I might judge you for watching. That's about it.
Like season 8, really? Come on now.
Really? Come on, bro.
But
I don't care about you lay with the Flash.
Yeah, just watching CW then.
We'll be good. But like it's just about being respectful. It's not about being accepting. I think a lot of people conflate acceptance with respect. Just because you accept me doesn't necessarily mean that you accept me. So sorry, just because you accept me doesn't mean that you respect me.
Okay.
It's just about being respectful of people, of who they are. Because a lot of the time it doesn't even affect you. It's like it's not affecting you. You're direct, like not affecting you, your money, your life, your house, your family. But you're harboring so much hate and ignorance towards someone because of what their gender identity or who they happen to, fall in love with. It's ridiculous. And then you go and tie those things to characters as well. Like, why does this character need to be gay? Why do we need another gay character? Why do we need another trans character? It's like, just don't interact with the media if it's not for you. Like
it's that simple, bro.
Because
it might be business, man.
It's because it's not everything is gonna be for you.
That's true. Because a lot of people have grown up thinking everything's for them.
Exactly.
And this is how it made me feel. But bro, you're not the only person in this world. You're not the only person in this space. And for long, the space has only been catered to a specific type of person.
Exactly.
Now it's no longer catered for you. And
exactly.
Toys at the pram.
They make noise.
Even outside, I can be real. Doing times I thought like you gotta check yourself with like, bro. But it's not everything meant for you, bro. It's like people that love the same thing as much as you, or even more, that they're trying to cater to now as well.
Like sometimes they cater to a certain audience, a certain demographic, and it's like sometimes you have to be like, okay, does it look interesting enough for me to even engage it anyway? Sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. If it's no, fine, dip.
Yeah, dip. Yeah.
But the community and the people that they're trying to reach will gravitate towards it, will love it, will spend money on it, whatever it is, and they'll get the job done. Yeah. So like, I think the community, the nerd community, nerds in general, or even want to call it, or people who just love like pop culture, we're very entitled. We're entitled people. We think everything and anything is for us, even if it's not for us. So you get people who are like, okay, well, this character is trans. Why is this character trans? I don't like it. But if you don't like it,
Don't watch it.
Don't watch it. Don't read it. Don't play it.
Yeah.
Done. Like, go get on with your life. But
and no one is gonna hold you things
like
not watching.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Like,
I'll even put it to this. Like, for example, this is obviously not the same, but for example, Black Panther, we like Black people around the world in the diaspora, we like, you know, we supported that crazily, and we didn't tell anyone you have to support for us. Like other communities, we support that crazy. So when other communities saying why are you supporting Chinese, bro, you got to put the work in yourself.
We're not going to do the work for you. We're not going to do the work for you. There's clearly a target audience for this content.
Mm-hmm.
If you're that target audience, you either gravitate towards it or you don't. Mm-hmm. And if people outside of that will either do the same. So it's a case of again, if it's not for you or if it's not something you're interested in, just dip.
No, exactly. And it's gonna be the thing is you're not gonna like every single thing. For example, I'm pretty sure whoever Ryan's favorite comic book writer is, he hasn't liked every single issue he's put out, every single comic book run.
Yeah, of course, 100%. Yeah.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. There's certain things we can debate about. There's certain things we can talk about. You know,
like whether something pandering or whatnot.
Right. If something is pandering, or if there's a story being told that we don't necessarily want to be told or needs to be told. For example, like a Joker 2 sequel. We don't need a Joker 2 sequel. Why the hell do we need a Joker 2 sequel? Those type of things we can discuss, fine. But when you're starting to kind of like almost debate people's identity or debate mediums that are created towards people of a different demographic, it's like, why? Like, why waste your time? Like you said, with Black Panther was very much dedicated to the Marvel comic book readers and Black audiences.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing, like same with Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi's directed to the Marvel comic book readers and, you know, Chinese audiences. So there is not going to be this thing of, you know, why didn't the Black community support, you know, Shang-Chi like they did Black Panther? Because I'm not Chinese. I'm not.
I should have to go hard for your thing.
I'm not going to go hard for your thing because he's Chinese. I'm going to go hard for it because I like Marvel characters.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going hard for it, not because he's Chinese. If you want to go hard for it because he's a Chinese character that you've seen on screen, do that. And I'll be like, go to your thing, enjoy that, come talk to me about it when it's done. My friend made a tweet, and he said that since the success of Black Panther, a lot of other communities have held resentment towards Black
Panther.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, let them, because it's like, resentment or not, Black Panther popped, Black Panther 2 is still coming. So, like, what do you want me to do? Like I just have to, like, what do you want to do? You resent us as a people because going hard for a film that we liked. Mm-hmm. What?
Like we didn't ask you to go hard for our film. Like
we're not asking anyone to go hard for nothing. Like, what's that? What do you want to do? Oh man, okay.
Any LGBT character we should big up or our favorites that we have?
Okay, so
yeah, go on to me. You first.
No, go on, Ryan. Go on.
I was gonna say Wiccan because you lot have probably noticed how often throughout the pod recently I've been mentioning Young Avengers. This.
Yeah.
Because I read it not too long ago. It's one of my favorite comic book runs, to be honest. I think he made his first appearance in Young Avengers 1. And he's my favorite character alongside Kid Loki. More so because of like his power set and that as well. I like super speed in it. You get me? So
he gets married to Hulk.
Yeah,
that's pretty interesting. Mine's Constantine.
Constantine's an interesting one for me because he gets into some weird relationships.
Yeah,
but it just adds to his character.
He's out there. It adds to his character. He's so
cool. Who was it? Like, was it Shark? Shark Man?
It was yeah, I think it was
like King Shark or something.
King Shark, yeah. Like first off, how does that work?
Yeah.
Secondly, it's just like it's a weird dynamic, but it fits Constantine's weirdness so well.
Yeah, it does.
Like it really does. I really hope they bring him back. Like the TV show, I think was good. I think they're working on a sequel to the Keanu Reeves film, first one. Which I hopefully they
I don't want Keanu Reeves though. I want what's his name? The guy.
No, same. I don't want Keanu Reeves as Constantine. Like
I like the guy who played him in the TV show.
Yeah, the guy who plays the TV show, yeah, and the guy who plays him in the DC animated stuff. The voice actor. He's the same guy. I forgot his name.
I never knew that, you know.
Yeah, it's him. Yeah, bro. He's acting like his British accent. Obviously,
on point to me that he just said that's Constantine, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
hands down. And I mean, like even with Loki just coming starting and stuff, I would want to. Well, Marvel have said that they've acknowledged that Loki is genderqueer. Loki plays around with gender, things like that. So I want to see what them saying that would necessarily mean for the show. Obviously, we've got female Loki. We've seen female Loki now. We know like she's a variant of the OG Loki, but like, what does that necessarily mean in terms of them showcasing Loki being genderqueer and to Loki being, pansexual, bisexual? So it's, I know, a lot of the time they say these things and it's just like, okay, but what you actually gonna
mean?
Yeah.
I get you. So like, now we've seen female Loki. Explain that. Explain why this variant of Loki or whatever you call it is a female.
Right. Exactly. So we'll see. I don't know.
Could we class all shapeshifters as gender fluid?
Oh, no, because
they have a base physiology or whatever.
Unless they changed the base physiology into something that they're more, I guess, comfortable with, that's not their prescribed gender, as people put it, then I would say no. I would still say they would still be
okay. Like for example, like I think as well, just shapeshifters. Obviously, we know about Mystique, but say for example, the Doctor when he became a woman.
Okay, now see, the Doctor's an interesting one, because I've discussed this a few times actually. So the Doctor's, I guess, gender identity does change with every regeneration, or him as a person changes with every regeneration. So he's not the same person he was the previous regeneration. He might have the memories of the old regeneration, but he's
not the same person.
He's very much a different person. So I don't know. Are Time Lords gender fluid? Maybe. I would probably say yes. I mean, if you're going from identifying from a man or cisgender man to a cisgender woman because of regeneration, then I guess yeah. But then it's like, well, they're different people as well, but they're the same person as well. So it's an interesting one. Most people will probably say yes. I will probably say yes because, as much as the Doctor is a woman now, the Doctor was a man, however, many regenerations ago before. So it's an interesting one.
Even with the scrolls as well, they can Do
they?
Scrolls, they can change it to anyone.
Well, they're shapeshifters, scrolls,
Oh yeah, but they still have like a. Well, I mean, can you even?
Yeah, you can't put human exactly human.
Right, exactly. Like it's one of those things. I think. Like,
let's say we got a human shapeshifter then. So like you said, Mystique. Mystique is obviously a human shapeshifter.
Yeah, but would you go Mystique gender fluid though?
Of why they're shapeshifting as well.
Right. I think.
Like, say for example, she's pulled up at I don't know, the man of the mansion. She's pulled up and she's shapeshifting to disguise her identity.
Yeah.
Then she isn't. But like, if for example, Mystique feels more comfortable as a man, so she permanently shapeshifts. She always holds the form of
a man.
Then I think you could say yeah, because you know what I mean. That's how she identifies as herself. So then you can't say no.
But I think until we see that, it's one of those things with shapeshifting characters. Like I don't really think you can. But I guess what you could say is they play with gender. Yeah, there is that. They could just say that they play with gender. Like they like to explore different gender identities. They might not necessarily stick to one, or they might stick to one, but they do play around with the idea of being either masculine representative. There's
like, even, like remember in the Boys when that guy had the power of being able to shapeshift.
Which one?
In the Boys,
the killed.
Oh yeah.
And obviously he's shapeshifts. He's a guy. He shapeshifts the woman. And he's having sex with like a major journal, whatever.
Yeah, I remember.
Gender fluid.
They haven't said. I would assume so, but they haven't said. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things. Like it's when you have these creators who create these characters, like they obviously have something in mind.
Yeah.
When they create the characters the way they do, so if they don't really acknowledge that these characters are gender fluid, or they play with gender, or they they're cis or they're trans, whatever it is, it's kind of up to us to kind of be like, okay, well, what makes sense in my head? What do I understand? You know, and we kind of attach these labels to these characters when the creators could have just been like, you know, well, we didn't make it that way.
Okay, yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
Before we go into the last bit, I was just thinking I've been seeing a lot of this. Did you see what what's his name? What's his real name again? Anthony Mackie said, because you know it was a bit began crazy.
Oh yeah.
That a lot of obviously fan shipping like guys together. Like for example, there was people to ship Iron Man and Tony and Captain America together.
Well, I mean, it's
like, we're going away from like, can't people just be friends?
it's just internet things, man. It's
internet,
people have been shipping relationships since the dawn of pop culture.
They're not the only characters that get shipped either.
Right? They're not. They're not. Like
they're not the only.
He like Mackie. I can't lie. Mackie's doing the most. I can't lie. Like, okay, people shipped Bucky and Bucky and Cap.
Both Cap. Bucky's going around.
Like there's that meme that used to go around. You know in Winter Soldier. Yeah. When Cap is holding the airplane with one hand, the other hand, and then Bucky's can look at him, and people made jokes about that for ages. It's just a thing people do on the internet. So I mean, some people would like to see those ships happen. They understand that it's not going to happen, that these characters aren't orientated that way. But sometimes it's just fantasy. Yeah. Like I'm sure a lot of people have shipped other characters together and they would like to see together, like
or even straight characters.
Or even straight characters, like exactly.
You see a lot of the time.
It's happened since the dawn of pop culture.
Even maybe not even characters in like live action films, but even just comic book characters. You'll see artwork all the time that people draw.
Right.
Hey, speaking of artwork, I saw a crazy art. I was just scrolling.
Was it the Batman?
Sam or Bucky.
And who?
Let's just say Sam is in a. That's what I'm gonna say.
That's probably what Mackie saw when he made the statement.
Oh my days! When I was like, what?
Listen, fans will do all sorts, man. When certain fans like certain characters, they want to do ship stuff. They'll do. I think the weird.
You might defund fan.
I mean the weirdest. I won't say weird, but the weirdest one that they do is like when they write stories about.
Yeah, like proper stories that like bro, send it to like.
They're writing novels,
bro. Novels like Wattpad stories, and like I'm like, this going hard.
You're just like, what? Anyway, but like, yeah, Mackie needs to chill. It's not that deep. Mm-hmm. Like people will ship characters from now to the end of time. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I saw someone ship Thanos and freaking Gamora. Like,
that's weird for a start.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I feel like if LGBTQ characters had more of a presence in just comics, I think or maybe live action. Do you think
we need to ship guys anyway?
Do you think you would see less of this fantasy shipping? Because
I would think so, yeah. Because a lot of
because maybe they're underrepresented.
Yeah,
will have to come up with these stories in their head themselves because they don't see it. They don't get told these stories, so then they have to create themselves.
But when people rarely see themselves, they do end up telling their own stories. So especially with these characters, when these characters aren't presented as LGBTQ characters, but you have there's no, I guess, an attraction to them, whatever it is, they're going to end up shipping them. They're going to end up telling stories that they would like to see. Again, people understand that these characters aren't LGBTQ or they aren't gay or they aren't lesbian, whatever it is, but what's a bit of fantasy? What's a couple of pages of fantasy about these characters if it makes them happy? Do you know what I mean? So if there was more representation, there probably would be less of it, and it probably would be seen as less of an issue. Again, I do think Mackie is. I'm not trying to make him seem like he's homophobic or whatever it is. That's what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying, like, you're doing the most, buddy. Like, just laugh it off and let it be like. It's not like people are sitting up in Marvel HQ going like, "Oh yeah, let's make Bucky and Cap a couple." Do you know what I mean? Like, it's internet people.
Fans on the internet, yeah.
It's internet people. Like, don't let internet people get to you like that. Like, relax. Anyway, what's the last bit? Oh, right. Okay, so as part of Pride Month on Twitter, I made a statement to the nerd culture community about my own sexuality and how I identified as bi or queer. What that I guess essentially means is that
because I never knew what queer meant.
So a lot of LGBTQ people will use the term queer to identify themselves, because a lot of the times labels like gay, bisexual, lesbian don't necessarily fit them, because what's come with these labels is essentially boxes, and if people can't fit you into that box, they don't necessarily see you as that. So queer is an umbrella term. It's also, there's much debate about whether or not to use the term, because it's seen as kind of problematic for some people, especially for the older generation of LGBTQ people, because it was used as a slur against them. So it tends to be more millennials type people who use queer as an umbrella term. But what my understanding of my own sexuality and what it means to be bisexual is that I understand that I have the potential to be romantically and sexually attracted to someone of either or gender. That's what it basically says. That's I mean, some people will tell you, oh, if you're bisexual, you need to be 50-50. I don't see it like that.
It's different percentages, isn't it?
It's not even about percentages, because people will tell you that sexuality is on a spectrum. Like it's just there's extremes on either end.
Sometimes, isn't it? Yeah.
There's extremes on either end. Some people will sit in between those extremes, and you know how they identify, choose to identify. For me, like I said, like in my why I associate as, you know, both genders or men, women is what I'm attracted to, and that's it. No one can really tell me yes or no in terms of my sexuality. It's just how I identify, and it's taken me a very long time to be comfortable with myself and to acknowledge my sexuality, because it's not an easy journey for a lot of people, especially for those of us
minority communities and where we come from.
Very much so. So yeah, I felt like it was important that, you know, our community understands that, you know, there is someone who relates to them, because you know,
it's part of, and it's a leading light in the thing, because you are part of the, but you are a leading light. You are pushing through. You can show obviously people in the LGBT community that we can smash this and do big things. And we don't let this stop us.
Like we've touched on LGBTQ subjects here and there, like in the past, touched on it, but it's like sometimes it's like I feel like sometimes people will be like, well, can you really speak on these things if you aren't? I at least want people to know, at least, like, you know, when we say certain things, and when we say like this community is for all, this community is for
it's really for all, and that's why I really wanted to. That's why I even told you, like, when at the start of the month, I was like, I really want to do this, because we've never actually fully spoke about this in depth.
Yeah.
So plus, obviously, because I've always known he was bi queer, but it never thing, you know.
But yeah, I mean,
I would see that as like, yeah, that's bro, but that's what he is, isn't it? So it's never been. It's not a relationship, a thing that we talk about. It's just
I spoke about it as well. I'm very much open about it in my personal life and stuff like that. But it's like, I felt like it's time to make that transition to like the community now. Yeah. So like, it's all good. So yeah, that's it.
But also still, I also want to say, to me, it is a big thing to come out as well, personal community as well. So I am proud of you for doing that as well. And also just, you know, making space, and obviously helping us learn as well as going on as well, and just you know, showing and being a leading light to the community.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Like, it's kind of, I will say there's a kind of responsibility on my shoulders. But like,
there is. Great power comes great responsibility. But Uncle Ben, bro.
All right. Let's wrap up the episode there. It's been a really good conversation. This will be the last episode you see of us on Zoom.
Yes, we're going to be back in the studio.
We're back in the studio. No more freaking Zoom. I'm tired of Zoom.
No Wi-Fi cutting out.
Oh God.
Yeah, no right now adjusted lighting.
No funky lighting. No funky. We're back in the studio.
The funny thing is, we were meant to do this episode like 2-3 weeks ago as well.
Yeah, there've been delays upon delays. But it feels right. It feels right to have the episode now.
Every time, the thing is that I've noticed as well, when we do episodes, it's meant to come out when it's meant to come out.
At least for the pandemic, anyway.
Yeah,
I want us to get back to like.
Literally, I want to get back into the groove as well.
You know what I mean? Like every 2 weeks on a Tuesday, you're getting a Nerdcast episode. You're getting content and this and the other. So hopefully, no more Zoom. Back in the studio.
And hopefully we have more news to tell you about events and whatnot as well.
Yeah, it just depends on the pandemic and situation, guys. Because like at the moment, we don't even know when we're coming out of lockdown and stuff. So we are still trying to sort events out. I say events plural because events plural is happening. Of course, the Nerdcastle Quiz Night is coming back too, right? So you know we're working on that, and I've said a lot during the pandemic about guests and stuff. But my personal thing was this: I didn't want to have guests on a Zoom call. I like having guests in the studio. I like exactly. I like chopping up
and actually discuss with them.
Right. So now that once we're back in the studio properly, we will be inviting guests down to talk about all sorts. So if you are someone who wants to be a guest on the show, don't get me wrong, you don't necessarily have to have a platform to come on the podcast. Just have a passion for whatever you want to talk about, and we'll gladly have you on. That's the one thing I will say to people.
Yeah, so, have an idea or a topic you want to talk about, have it framed, and we go from there.
Period. So,
hopefully the Nerd Council hashtag,
the usual stuff,
socials, the usual stuff. You know, we've got our socials there.
Listen to questions, we love them.
Please send listener questions in, people.
Yeah,
I miss listener questions.
And enjoy your Pride Month, the 10 days we have left, and all that. You know.
All that good jazz.
So Pride Month, it came in. Can you actually just tell the story again, the history of Pride Month to me, quickly?
Pride Month acknowledges. So there's LGBTQ History Month and there's Pride Month. Pride Month is more of the celebration side of things, of acknowledging and celebrating LGBTQ history, LGBTQ people, which was kickstarted off by the Stonewall riots, with I guess the main person being Marsha P. Johnson. Right? Yeah, so Marsha P. Johnson was a trans woman who essentially kicked off.
They made a white guy, innit?
Yeah, they did. They made a film and they made a white guy. Yeah,
that is ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's Pride Month generally happens around June. It's a bit weird because Pride Month more for the US,
American thing, innit? Yeah.
But yeah, but in the UK we kind of have
adopted it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird thing, but it tends to be June. But it's just a celebration of LGBTQ people and what we do and how lit we are, I guess. No. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, so socials: Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. Yes, we're on TikTok. Follow us on TikTok. I'm on TikToks now. I'm on TikTok. So
I'm posting TikToks as well soon.
Oh, say swear. Okay, I'm holding to that though. I'm holding to that. Even TikToks, yeah.
I'm gonna post like what we do in the studio that night. You
know? I'm holding to that. I'm making the TikTok manager.
The whole week tonight and it's happening. But yeah, man. Love your community so much, man. You know, enjoy yourself. You know, live and let live. That's what I say, man. Especially Pride Month.
Do you? Just be the best you that you can be.
Yeah,
that's it.
If you're a villain, I'm not too sure. Don't be the best villain because you don't need any more villains.
I mean, even villains need to be their best selves, right? Villains need to be their best selves so the heroes can be even better, right? So,
yeah, man. Peace and love, guys, man.
Over and out, people. Are you a content creator looking for some new kit? Well, ELGATO has a quality range of products just for you. That's right, ELGATO isn't just for gaming content. From the chroma key green screen, the key light which provides studio quality lighting, and of course the new Waveron microphone providing outstanding quality audio, ELGATO is there to meet all your content creation needs. Visit elgato.com and check out the full range of products for more information. And a big shout out to ELGATO for supporting us.